Good day, grade 12s. Today we're going to look at a new document which forms part of a condition of the Companies Act 71 of 2008, and it's known as a cash flow statement. As I've just said, Act 71 of 2008 states that 5 documents must be presented at the annual general meeting. As you can see, I have abbreviated it here to AGM. Just again, for those of you who may not know, AGM stands for Annual General Meeting. So the 5 documents that have to be presented at the AGM are the income statement and the balance sheet, and we've dealt with those already. And today we are going to look at the cash flow statement. So here we have the cash flow statement. The other 2 documents are the auditor's report, which will obviously be drawn up by the auditors, and remember they can give 3 opinions on their findings when they did the audit, and then the directors have to present a report to the shareholders as well. So what is a cash flow statement? Cash flow statement quite simply shows the inflows and outflows of money for a specific period. Inflows, maybe a new word, outflows, but it simply means money that is coming into the business, and outflows is money that is going out of the business. So let's look at some of the sources of inflow of money. So we can have operations, which refers obviously to items such as our sales, the issue of shares. Obviously, whenever we sell shares, money is flowing into the business. And likewise with the asset disposal. When we sell any of our assets, money flows into the business in some form or another. When we have applied for a loan and the loan has been granted to the business, the financial institution will deposit money into the business's bank account, and that we call loans acquired or loans that we have received. And then fifthly, when a fixed deposit has matured, again, the financial institution will deposit money into the business's bank account. And so those are my 5 main sources of where a business will get money. Let's just go over them again. Operations, in other words, selling or services rendered, depending on what kind of a business we are, or even maybe a combined business. Issue of shares, asset disposal, loans acquired, and fixed deposits maturing. I wonder if you can think where the outflow of the sources of money will be. Let's see if you were right. Operations. So what do I mean by operations? Well, no business can operate without certain items. For example, paying salaries or wages, paying for stationery, paying insurance. All my general expenses can be put into one basket known as operations, and I have to pay for those. The next one we will look at is repaying our loans. If we repay our loans, our money is getting less. However, our liability will also be diminished. When we make an investment in a fixed deposit or any other type of investment, money will flow out of the business, and that is also an outflow of money. When we purchase tangible assets, money flows out. Even if we buy them on credit, we buy them now, but we have to pay for them, and we will pay for them within the same year preferably, or use some of our retained income. Then Another outflow of money is when we pay our shareholders the dividends. And lastly, the one which nobody likes paying is our income tax. So I hope you can now differentiate between inflows of money, or in other words, when a business receives money, and outflows of money, which is when a business pays money. So what's this cash flow statement all about? Well, it consists of 4 sections, and we will be looking at those sections one by one. So we've got cash flow from operating activities. Then we have the cash flow from investing activities. And then we have financing activities. And lastly, we have cash and cash equivalents. Now, in a test or an exam, you may be given a blank cash flow statement, and you will have to complete that. It has to be in the correct order, and so let's have a look at it. We're going to have operating activities first and cash equivalents last. And I found that sometimes students get a bit confused about the order of the investing and the financing. So it's quite simple. Let's look at this. I've got investing first and financing second. So the order, just to help you with the format, you must have the word if. So if you have FI, you've got the format incorrect. So just remember that you should always have the word if. So I'm going to take this step by step. So let's have a look at where we're going to find our main source of income. And obviously, because it's income, we're going to look at the income statement. Information is obtained not only from the income statement, which we've mentioned, but also from the balance sheet. Now, you will know that in the balance sheet, we will give the amounts of 2 consecutive years. And so we are going to make lots and lots and lots of comparisons when we draw up our cash flow statement by looking at the 2 consecutive years. What could I find in the income statement? Depreciation, interest expense, interest income. And most importantly, these are imputed expenses or incomes. Do you remember what imputed means? It means it's a non-cash item. So let's look at depreciation. We don't physically pay for depreciation. Okay, it's a paper transaction. We record it. Why do we record depreciation? Because we can subtract it from the value of our tangible assets, and we have a realistic value or the prudent value of the tangible asset. And SARS allows us to claim depreciation as an expense. Likewise, with interest expense, we don't physically pay the interest expense because you will know that at this stage of your accounting careers, 90% of the time, interest is capitalized. So now, how do these 2 items affect my cash flow statement? Because realistically, money has not flowed out of the business. Yet in my income statement, I have shown them as expenses, and it looks like money has been paid. So what we're going to do is we're going to add back the depreciation and the interest expense because money has not flowed out of the business. Likewise, with my interest income over here, it looks as though money flowed into the business, but because interest is capitalized, money actually did not flow into the business. Yet my income statement reveals that money did flow into the business. And so we are going to have to subtract the interest income to get a realistic value of money that flowed in and out of the business. So let's have a look at a little table we are going to complete, known as the reconciliation between net profits before tax and cash generated from operations. All right, so here I've got net profit before tax. Obviously, that's going to come from my income statement. And now I have to make adjustments for the incomes and expenses which appear as though there was an inflow and outflow of money, yet there wasn't. So we are going to adjust our net profit. So let's have a look. Depreciation. In the income statement, we subtracted the depreciation as an expense, yet money didn't flow out. In the income statement, we subtracted it. So to balance it, we are going to put an amount over there. We are not going to put it in brackets. And can you see that this is actually cancelling the depreciation expense? And likewise over here, we are going to add back the interest. Because it was capitalized, we never received it. It was simply added to the loan. However, we now have our interest income. In the income statement, it appears that we added it. So to cancel the income, which we didn't actually receive because it was capitalized, can you see I have got it in brackets over here? So I'm going to subtract the interest income. And when I take these amounts and I add and subtract, I will now get the operating profit before changes in working capital. What is working capital? I'm taking you back to grade 10 and 11. Working capital is simply my current assets minus my current liabilities. So that will give me my working capital. And so just as a reminder, working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. And so that will be the next step that we will look at. And so I want you just to revise and just be familiar and maybe just listen to the slide again because it will help you with the next slide. So there isn't actually any formal homework other than maybe just re-listening to this lesson and familiarizing yourself with why we add and subtract incomes and expenses. Bye for now, and tomorrow we'll pick up with the changes in our working capital.